Welcome back to another episode of our Eagle Perspective podcast. I'm Mike Siciliano, Dean of Students of the Upper School. Always love when I get to have students on the podcast. I'm joined today by two of our finest.
Actually, I think we can take this over. I'm Kayla Crecion.
I'm Jacob Anderson.
What's going on here?
We're flipping the script.
I'm not used to being cut off like that, guys. I mean, there might be a detention here coming your way.
Oh, no.
That won't be necessary.
That won't be necessary.
That's okay. That's okay.
I mean, I'm going to be replaced. I mean, this is a problem. So
we're coming for your job.
I mean, everybody is. You can have it, actually. You want it.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Today, we are flipping the script. We are the interviewers. We're asking you questions. I'm not sure if you're prepared for this, but that's okay.
I just started sweating quite a bit.
Is
this what it's like to be in my office?
I see that.
When you come in?
Right here.
Yeah.
A little bit.
Okay. You're supposed to have like a box of tissues for me in case that's general protocol. But anyway, go ahead.
First question. Can you describe a little bit what being Dean of Students is like? I've always wondered.
I would say every day is different. Mm-hmm. So like when I was a teacher, being a teacher is awesome.
Yeah.
Every day, I would say 99% of the days go somewhat like you'd expect. Mm-hmm. And I loved that. I loved being in the classroom. I loved being with students. I loved talking about history. When you in this role as the Dean of Students, every day is unpredictable. So like what my calendar looks like when I show up at 7:30, by 9 o'clock, sometimes the calendar is totally different because there might be a kid who is having a real crisis about something. There might be an emergency on campus. There might be something fun going on that I didn't know about that I just want to go and be a part of. People call in with questions. Stuff comes up. Every once in a while there's discipline issues. I mean, very rarely. Very
rare.
Especially with you two.
Of course.
So it's just it's way less predictable. But I would say it's also really rewarding because you get to work with people in their most difficult moments or their hardest moments. And then sometimes you get to see that through to some of their best moments. And so while it's stressful and hard and you got to make a lot of decisions, and a lot of times you got to make decisions that somebody's not going to like, at the end, it's really neat to see our kids walk across that stage as adults and, know that you've been with them through some of the hard parts. Mm-hmm. And that's the best part for me.
That's incredible. That's awesome. How did you become the Dean of Students?
That's a great question.
I don't know. Path here?
I don't know that it was a path. It was more like a series of chutes and ladders.
Oh.
So I had no intent of even actually getting into education. So I was probably like you guys as a 16-year-old. Are you both 16?
I'm 17.
17. Okay.
So close.
You're both 17?
Yeah.
Wow. All right. I apologize. How old do you think I am?
25.
That is a great answer, Jacob Anderson. Like that is one
maybe
tardy-free day,
tardy-free,
which for you is more valuable currency than for her.
It's very valuable.
You're doing better this year.
How many did you have this year?
Yeah. I would say your arc from freshman year to now is like...
Freshman year, I think I missed a lot of school.
I mean, you led the school. Let's just put it out there. You led the school.
Number one.
Yeah.
Number one.
Now there were some reasons. I mean, you guys were like you lived in like way far away.
Making a journey every day from San Marcos, deep up like north side of San Marcos.
But we worked through it. Have we even talked about attendance this year?
We have not. Or last year.
I mean, well done.
Maybe a little bit last year, but
it was a little bit last year.
It was a tiny bit last year.
Yeah. Now you know who's never had to talk to me about attendance?
Me.
Kayla.
Yeah.
So I'm just throwing that out.
I strive every day to be more like Kayla.
Me too. All right. So when I was a 17-year-old, and this is, I've used this line a lot, but 17-year-old me would be very disappointed. Like 17-year-old me would be like,
that's not good at all.
You're here? Like we had such hopes and dreams, like how did you end up back here? But 25-year-old me actually loves this, and it was a really weird route. So went to college, went to business school, worked in sports business for 5 years. Worked for an arena football team, worked for CBS Sports doing advertising sales, sold some radio advertising, so kind of sales and marketing in the sports world. And realized at about 26, 27, I was waking up on Monday morning and just counting down until Friday at 5 o'clock. The week was just a get through it, got to do it, hate it. Gotcha. And I don't know, I think God makes different kinds of people. I do think some people can look at their career, and God makes them this way. And it's like a job is a job, and its role is to earn income to facilitate other areas of your life. And some of those people end up, donating millions of dollars to good causes or getting involved in nonprofit stuff. And that's awesome. They can do that.
Yeah.
I think I realized I couldn't be that person. Like, I was so miserable doing something every day that I just didn't like. And so I kind of went through a little bit of what I would call a quarter life crisis.
Quarter life.
And I started meeting with just random people that I knew. Like, tell me about your job. Tell me what you do. I kind of got so low that it was like, let's start over. Let's throw the money out. Let's start over. So one of those people was our head of schools, Dr. Tom Bennett, who was the Santa Fe head of schools at the time. I just called him up and said, I'm interested in education. Can I meet with you? So we met for like an hour. And on my way out the door, he said, I might have an opportunity for you. And the school's development director, which I don't know if you know what that is. It's basically a lot of the like fundraising, kind of the business office of the school, had just left. And so I interviewed for that job. There was a lot of transferable skills from my sales job, and got the job. I worked with a guy named Vic Ippolito. The two of us partnered together, and I did that for 3 years. And that's when I started coaching football.
Gotcha.
And it was good. I loved being at Santa Fe, but I found myself like sneaking off to do all the stuff with the kids. Like, can I go on this trip? Can I go on this retreat? How do I? And I realized I didn't want to do fundraising for the rest of my life. So I went back to grad school, got a master's in education, and then one day got a call from the school because the history teaching job was open, and it was a big decision for us. But I ended up taking it, and I loved it. So I would say that was the first. I was 31 years old, and that was the first year of my life where like I woke up and it was, I'm excited to go to work today because I love doing this.
Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome.
And so I did that for 5 years, and then this position was created, and it was kind of an opportunity to just, I think, maybe have a vote in some of the direction of the school. And also, like, I really wanted to get to help work with kids who are going through stuff. I mean, that is really the best part of the job. Even as a teacher, I mean, I loved history, I loved the content, but I loved the kids, and I loved building those relationships. I mean, you guys know, like, you have this with Sal.
Yeah,
right?
Absolutely.
Where that's your home on campus. And, when you're going through stuff, like, he's a mentor for you. And I love that part of it. And so I kind of saw this role as an extension of that,
Totally.
more than just teaching juniors in history, but kind of getting to do that on a broader scale. So even though 17-year-old me would not be happy, I'm really, really thankful to be here. And I think one more thing. Sorry, I'm giving you a long answer.
No, you're good.
By the way, when you're hosting, like, you can cut the person off and be like, hey, shut up, you're talking too much, But I think when I went through that quarter life crisis, I thought about, like, where have I been happy, and what are the things about that I liked? And I realized, number one, I had all these people who had poured into me, like adults who I still knew. Like, I was in a Bible study with my basketball coach, with my basketball coach, my wife, and 3 of my teammates and their wives. And it just, at some point, it was like, that's not normal. And it made me appreciate this place and the community of it. And, so kind of, getting to try to be that for our students is really neat. It's a lot of fun. So yeah, I love it.
That doesn't sound like Chutes and Ladders. It sounds like this is your calling now. It sounds like this is your passion.
I mean, I appreciate that, but keep in mind that, it was 31 was the first time I woke up and I was like, I found it, Wow. So that was basically 10 years of, to use a Christian school analogy, wandering through the wilderness of, what is my calling? What am I supposed to do? How do I get there? It felt like Chutes and Ladders,
at the
time for sure.
One thing that I really agree with what you said was that you feel like Santa Fe is just such a great community, and I can totally agree with that. Like, I feel like I found some of like my best friends, and like I know I'm still really young, so I have a lot of life, but I feel like I can really see myself like growing in these relationships as I go on. So I'm really grateful for that, and I feel like it's a good attest to because you create such a great like student body in the upper school. So appreciate that.
It's definitely a place everyone can get a home in.
Yeah. Well, you guys have one of the best ones. So, Sal was my history teacher.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome.
So he's teaching history again now this year.
I
actually,
know.
the freshman.
I'm
I'm
in
so
it.
bummed.
Yeah, there you go.
I'm in a freshman AP class.
Well, yeah, but you probably because of Sal.
Yeah, it is because of Sal.
So, and for those of you who don't know, if you're listening and you don't know the man, the myth, the legend that is John Salyer, he's one of our longtime teachers. He's taught history here. He's been our ASB director. He's been a football coach. He started our broadcast program with Amy Kennard, who's also an alum, and has been doing that primarily for the last 15, 20 years, and is amazing. And of course, you guys are both involved in broadcast. So
he's a jack of all trades.
he is a jack of all
trades.
trades.
He does it all.
Yeah, no doubt about it. And he was an awesome history teacher, so that's awesome that you're getting that experience. But, great example of someone who, that guy can look back and look at 35 years of people that he's mentored, that still call him.
And he still remembers them too. Like he tells us all these fun stories about everything.
Yeah.
It's just so cool.
Yeah.
To hear.
So when I was in that crisis, he was one of the guys I called and went out to lunch with and was like,
awesome.
tell me what it's like to be a teacher. And he just told me all the things, the good and the bad. So anyway,
that's
pretty
awesome.
cool.
One thing I did want to ask about, kind of different from your role of Dean of Students, is you as a football coach. You're the offensive head coach, so that's awesome. And we get to know you really well during all of our meetings on Wednesdays for coach.
Yes, yeah. So tell people about that because they might not.
Yeah, so we do something called SFCtv, which you know. So we broadcast all the football games, and you really help us on Wednesdays. You come in during your lunch break to help us learn more about the other team's defense and what we're running for offense that week, and it really helps us prepare for what we're going to say. So we would really appreciate that. But can you just give us a little bit of information about how you got into being a football coach?
Yeah, first of all, I love those Wednesday meetings. Yeah. And it's so much fun. You guys ask great questions.
I learn a lot.
And
you guys taught us all of football.
Yeah, literally in 1 year.
Well, now that the questions have gotten better. So now it's like I actually have to think for 5 or 10 minutes before I go okay, what do I want to make sure to get across? Because otherwise they'll skewer me, those media folks. No, it's a lot of fun. So coaching for me, I've always loved sports growing up. I played football here. I always knew I wanted to be a coach. Yeah. I think in my younger days, I was at this place of, well, I'll go out and be successful, and then at some point later in life, I'll have time and I'll go back and do that. Yeah. And when I was in that crisis point of, every day stinks right now. I finally I just had this thought one day. I actually remember having this thought of why do you have to wait? Why? Let's just start finding things that are life-giving, And there's a lot of prayer that went into that, and asking God, hey, why am I so miserable? And kind of hearing well, you're not doing the things I made you for, And so when I met with Dr. Bennett here, another person I met with was Nick Rosetta, who was that was becoming the head coach of the football program. Mm-hmm. And I didn't really know him, but I just said, hey, I want to be a football coach. And he was like, yeah, whatever. And but we met a few times, and he gave me a shot and, taught me most of what I know.
That's awesome.
And hired me that same year I started at the school. And that's just been an awesome thing, both because I love the game, but also it's such a great way to get to know young men, and have a lot of awesome relationships that have come from that. We've had a great coaching staff, and so I really, really enjoy that, both the competitive piece of it, but it's one of the things I say is, kids don't show up at 7:00 in the morning in summers every day for, I don't want to pick on any one particular subject, but it gets boys and young men to do things they wouldn't otherwise do, and there's such opportunity in that. for relationship, for faith, for mentorship. So I love it.
I would know because I did freshman football.
That's right.
For half of the year.
I know. Are you coming back next year?
Totally.
Senior year?
Well, actually, a lot of colleges reached out. Alabama specifically, Michigan.
Well, I know
since they had so
Alabama
much
has gone
success this
downhill
year.
since they let go of Saban. So
Well, they're looking for me to replace, fill in on some of those empty gaps
probably
now.
like tackle.
Yeah, probably tackle.
Yeah.
Probably.
Yeah.
I kind of got that build going. 5-star recruit, actually.
Yeah.
Maybe the first ever 6-star recruit.
Yeah, I mean, I could see it. Yeah, I could see it because you could broadcast as well.
Oh, yeah.
Like
That's
you
right.
could broadcast
On the
while
field.
you're blocking.
I'll like
Oh,
run
gosh.
up there,
Yeah.
run on the sidelines, grab the mic real quick. Look at that. And run back.
They're good. I'd pay to
Really
see
good.
it.
Yeah.
Should we talk about now? Because I know that you were talking about you were a student here.
I was.
So I would love to hear all about like your life as a student here and how you were. Were you a good kid?
I mean, every kid here's a good kid.
Yeah.
You
Of
know,
course.
God doesn't
Of
make
course.
any bad ones.
Yeah.
So, I was definitely a rule follower. So, like, I was a stress case. I mean, I'm a perfectionist. No, that's a battle my whole life that I've
Yeah.
had, and I definitely felt the pressure. I was a pretty good student academically. I was a really mediocre at best athlete, and I loved sports. So I played football, basketball, baseball.
Oh, wow.
And I was working really hard to be average at best. And so I loved that. I was really involved. I did 3 musicals. I did the first fall play, was in the first chamber chorale.
Wow.
So that's another thing I had no interest in getting into
Yeah.
when I started high school. And then actually some older girls
Oh, wow.
we're like, hey, you should come do this.
You're like,
and I was
"Of
like,
course."
well,
Of
no,
course.
none of the other girls are talking to me. So, so I signed up, and I really loved that. It was really stretching, but it was awesome. So much fun. Did the school's first kind of official mission trip to Australia with the chamber chorale.
Whoa.
Wow.
Back in
They went to
spring of
Australia?
2001. Yeah,
That's
That's
incredible.
awesome.
so that was a lot of fun. But yeah, I mean, I would say I was really academically motivated, overly perfectionistic, way too stressed out, like definitely anxiety, all the things, which I've later in life had to deal with, but very much a rule follower. Except for one time. So I might be the only kid to go through Santa Fe with 0 detentions and 1 suspension.
What?
So,
How
yeah.
did you get that?
I'm not sure I can tell that story on the air. I'll tell you what, I do tell that story when I do have to give suspensions, which is one of the hardest parts of my job, right?
Yeah.
People are surprised maybe at this because I think they think about someone getting suspended and they think that kids are just mad, angry, terrible. How dare you? I mean, most of the time they're in tears of like reckoning with their own actions and the consequences. And so I will tell them that. I'll tell them my story.
Yeah.
And how I felt coming back, like everyone thought I was a fraud. I was, all the teachers probably think I'm, I've ruined everything, which wasn't the case. But yeah, I'll just leave it as I made a poor decision on a trip. I broke some of the rules, and not proud of it. Not proud of it. So no detentions, 1 suspension.
You live and you learn.
You live and you learn. Yeah,
Pretty good
You live
track
and learn.
record.
And I really couldn't talk about that for like 3 or 4 years. I had so much shame about it.
Wow.
But it's another example of how God uses stuff, man. Because now, now I use it in those moments, you know? And it's like, I hope that it brings some of those students, like, I will recover from this, So it's kind of crazy how that worked
That's
out.
crazy.
Yeah. But otherwise, pretty straight edge.
Yeah.
Just tried to be really involved. And we didn't have broadcast.
Oh, really?
I think I would have loved to do that.
Yeah.
Yeah, the broadcast studio got built, like it finished like the week before I graduated.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Oh, that's
That's
kind of
tough.
sad.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
I could not see my high school experience without broadcast. It is
Yeah.
so amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Neither
I know.
could I.
There is way more, there's way more opportunity now
Yeah.
than there was when I
Totally.
was here. There's just way more programs.
So what was it like back when you were 17? What was that? 1890s?
Yeah. Okay, yeah, sure.
Back- way back then.
1890s. I mean, obviously not
Yeah.
a math major.
No.
I mean, no wonder it's Alabama and not USC. Yeah. I mean, listen, if you bring the snark, I'm going to bring it back. I
Okay.
mean, like,
That's fair.
Wait, can
That's
I ask
fair.
you?
Gosh, that's so
Do
funny.
I ever? Because I'm pretty sarcastic with
Yeah.
kids. Is that ever a problem?
No.
No.
Would you tell me if it
No.
was?
Of course.
Oh,
Okay.
totally.
Would you?
All right. So I would say a few things. The campus is totally different. So I started here in fourth grade in 1991, and I graduated in 2001. And in 1991, when I started, the only two buildings that are left from when I started are the lower school building and the chapel.
Whoa.
Wow.
So the entire rest of campus is gone,
insane.
or new. Like the gym was a blacktop.
Wow.
The field was grass. It was actually oriented a different way.
Yeah.
It was way different. It was all old trailers. But I didn't know any different. Like, I mean, I think what was special, which is the same, was the people, like the relationships and how it felt to be here. And you know, again, not to be cheesy Christian school answer, but just I credit that to like the Holy Spirit is here and the people and the love that's here. And that hasn't changed. That's what I most remember. But physically, yeah, I mean, it's, you know, I mean, the quad's been completely redone. The library's been built. The gym's been built. Obviously, the new building that we have now, the science building, the field. So that part is really different. So there was a lot more like, you know, just wear and tear. Like I remember sitting in those trailers in the mornings in the winter, just freezing. Because there was no heat.
Trailer
There was no heat. Well, when I say trailers, like the old, the old like
English
hotel
rooms.
like
like
if you were here in middle school, you probably right,
way up there,
Yeah.
up on the hill,
totally
by the freeway.
Yep, those
far walk.
rooms. Yeah, the far walk
Oh,
that you
yeah.
don't have to make anymore.
No, you don't.
I know. So yeah, I mean that is all very different. But I think the same people who love being around kids and the same kind of spirit of like try things, do things, do as much as you can, be involved. You know, you're going to be loved and known, and get to just sign up for stuff. And you know that part is still here for sure.
Yeah.
Absolutely. The buildings don't change the community.
Right.
It helps, but it doesn't change.
Yeah, I mean, it makes it more fun. You can do more with them. You know, we didn't have broadcast because we didn't have a broadcast facility. I look now at the engineering and robotics stuff that is getting rolling up there in that lab.
crazy.
You know, we didn't have any of that. So I've mentioned the broadcast thing a couple times, and I know you're interviewing me, but maybe just because if it's their first time listening, like talk about that program, what it's like, and what it's been for you guys.
It is definitely an experience I never would have ever thought I was going to do. If you talked to middle school me and said that I would be in front of a camera talking to hundreds, if not thousands of people every week, I would have been like, no, you're wrong. I would never do that.
Yeah.
I agree with that.
And I started out as a cameraman, did camera for a year, freshman year. Actually, it's what dragged me away from my football career, my amazing football career.
I mean, it was a big loss for us, no doubt. Yeah.
I don't know how you guys recovered from that and
Well,
still
it's been a struggle.
had a
It's been a
perfect
struggle.
season.
Yeah. You did.
But
You dropped 0 passes.
I dropped 0 passes. I was perfect stats.
Yep.
Thrown any passes?
No. But it is something that has definitely helped me grow in all aspects of my life. It has helped me kind of come out of that middle school awkwardness of like, oh, I'm kind of just going to sit in a corner and like, I don't know. It definitely helped bring me out of my shell and get involved with the community here and help me grow in my faith. Like we've talked about a billion times now, John Salyer has been an amazing mentor in my life and kind of helped guide me in these difficult times. And it's just truly an incredible experience.
Yeah. And for me, I agree with that. Like when I came freshman year, so I did not know what broadcast was. I walked into my course 1 broadcast class as my elective, and I was like, oh my gosh, my world was changed. I'd always been involved in like theater, and I always loved just being on stage and like doing things in front of people, but I'm not the world's best dancer, so musical theater can't really carry me far because I can't dance. So I was like, let's think of something else that I could do in front of people that I still like love, and that was broadcast, and it really gave me that. And I didn't have to start a cameraman because I started sophomore year, so I've actually never ran a camera, thank God.
Wow.
But yeah, I know. But so I got to just hop right in and be in front of the camera, and it's just been so cool because I feel like I've been able to grow in my confidence, and I learned that like you really don't have to be perfect in everything that you do, because I mess up all the time, but I still like have so much fun doing it, and I feel it's just really given me so many opportunities, and now I feel like that's what I want to go and study in college, which is super cool because I just didn't know it existed before this. But
it's our own little family now.
It really is.
Everywhere you go on campus, every little group, there's always a little family that you can find, whether it's a sport or an extracurricular. I don't know. It's amazing.
Yep.
Yeah,
it's pretty cool. And just for people who don't know, so like you guys broadcast every football game.
Oh, yes.
I know you guys started the pregame show.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Recently.
Our 20-minute
That's our
pregame
thing.
show.
Yeah, which have been awesome. So it's live. I think we've had as many as like 1,500 people watching
The
broadcast.
biggest game was, I think, our second. Was it our
Second.
first or second game of this year? We had,
32.
I think,
3,200.
3,200 viewers.
Isn't that
Okay,
crazy? Because
yeah,
we
and
went from the year before that only getting like averaging 600 per game, and then
Yeah.
like it just spiked like up to the thousands. I was
It's
like, how
awesome.
is this
It
possible?
was incredible.
But-
It's pretty
Yeah.
awesome. And it's completely student run. There's play-by-play, replay, multiple camera angles.
Yeah.
Yep. There's
Okay,
so many
so
jobs.
When
and-
you think about it, how many students do we have in total in the high school?
High school's about 430 to 440 students, depending
So
on
then
the
you
year.
got, if every student watched, every parent watched, that's not even,
Yeah, well,
all
and
of
plus,
what we
this,
get.
a lot of the
That's
students
maybe
and
half of
parents
what
are
we
at
get.
the game.
So I'm like, who's
So-
watching this?
we have no clue who's watching
Well, you know
it,
who
but-
watches? I'll tell you who watches. Alum,
Yes, that is true.
coaches' wives.
Oh yes, I forgot about that.
Yeah, like grandparents of players or extended family who don't live in town. My parents, who are in their 70s, watch every game on
that's awesome.
SFCtv, and they love it. Like
So
they love
glad.
it. So yeah, so thank you for doing it.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
We love to see the community kind of telling us, like reaching back out to us and being like, you guys are doing incredible.
Yeah,
We have people from other schools that are like, if it wasn't for you guys, all the parents from this faraway game wouldn't be able to see this.
right. Yeah, I mean that's true too. That's also who watches.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's pretty neat. You guys do a great job.
Thank you.
you.
What advice would you give to a new student coming here?
Oh man. Well, it might depend on the student too. But
true.
Here's what I'd say. Say a couple things. One, high school really is a lot what you make of it. I think even as a student, I didn't understand or appreciate how much control I had in my experience. And so sign up for things, try things. I would say resiliency is important. So I do see a lot of our students who, if the first month doesn't go well, or if there's a big change, there's this instinct now to sort of be like, well, it's never going to work here. And, you know, that's part of it for everybody. Like there's ups and downs. It's going to be part of life. And, you know, so the more you try things and meet people, like you're going to find your people, you know, but it's not like if you just walk out and sit down at a random lunch table and wait for the world to come to you, it's going to be harder. Like that's not how the world works.
Yeah.
So that's one. Number two, take advantage of the teachers. Like they want to talk with you. They want you to ask the hard questions.
Yeah.
They want you to say, I'm not sure I believe right now in my, I know it's a Christian school. Am I allowed to be like, I'm struggling with this? That's what they want. You know, they want to, like, we've all had moments like that. And so like doing that authentically and with your peers too, like, you know, don't fake anything. And like, those are probably two of the biggest pieces of advice. I think that the other thing I would say is I know there's a lot of pressure, more so on you than there was on me in terms of college and the system and all the things you got to do. And it's okay to be intentional about college. And so the courses that you choose, the activities you do, that is going to have an impact. Yeah. But you also want to have an experience that you like doing every day.
Yeah.
And that's where I think when there's kids who try to make their life look a certain way, you know, take 17 AP classes at once and do 43 extracurriculars because they look good on a resume. I just see a lot of those kids like really get burnt out and get unhappy. So I would just say there's a balance, you know, and God has a school out there for everyone or a track for everyone. Yeah. I mean, you know, we have kids that now are going to trade school. I just went to one of my former students just graduated and became a Navy SEAL.
Whoa.
Mr. Kim was telling us about
Yeah,
this.
he was there too.
Yeah.
Yeah. Also one of my teachers, by the way, Steve Kim.
Really?
Yeah, he was 22.
Oh, wow.
And I was 17, I think, in his class.
Gosh.
It was his first day as a teacher.
day.
I was course 1. Yeah.
Of course.
But you know, I don't know that that's what he envisioned necessarily when he was a student, but I mean, he is just he's doing an awesome job.
He's another SFC teacher legend.
Yeah. But I mean, this student who's now a Navy SEAL, like it took him a little bit to find that path, and that's great. So, you know, you can't control the process. You can't guarantee yourself admission anywhere, but God is gonna take care of that, you know? So do your best, put your best foot forward, but also like have a good experience. And finding that balance, I think, can be tricky for kids.
Yeah.
I think that's one of the things that makes SFC so unique. I'm sure most people can attest that haven't been here as long as some other people have. I came in 7th grade, and I can like very confidently say SFC gives so many opportunities to find who you are, who you want to be around, all these different things that most schools don't offer. It really gives you so many opportunities to plug yourself in here, try out this, try out that. My old school never encouraged me to do stuff like that and find my place, and they kind of just encouraged me, do good in school, and you'll end up finding things out, like you'll work things out.
Yeah.
But SFC has really helped me find out who I am as a person, what I'm interested in, people that I love, all of it.
Yeah. Love that.
For me, I don't know if we want to hear my story.
Come on, that's what I do. I love hearing your stories.
Like freshman, I already said, but freshman year I was new, and that's definitely not my biggest regret, but one of the things that I do kind of regret is not plugging myself into more things like you said. I wish I had your advice like you're giving to everyone now. But once I did, I found so many amazing people, and that's how I really was able to connect with the school. And now I literally love coming to school. I know you will probably never hear a student say that, but I really enjoy coming to school because I see all my friends, and there's just so many things to look forward to, and it's just such an amazing place. So.
I would say more people than you think feel that way.
Okay, I'm
They
glad.
just don't want to say it out loud.
Yeah.
Well, Mr. Siciliano, thank you so much. It's been great having you on our show.
Our show, actually.
Our show, our podcast.
Thank you for the invitation. Really appreciate it.
Thank you all so much for tuning in to the Eagle Perspective podcast. I know there's a few different places to watch it. You said Spotify.
Yeah, I think it'd be a good time to remind them that they can find us on Spotify, on Apple Podcasts. They can watch our video podcasts on YouTube, and there's lots of other episodes of the Eagle Perspective podcast. Although this is the only one with you guys. Maybe we need
one to watch.
Maybe we need a spin-off series.
Maybe my own podcast.
All right. Well, super proud of you guys.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.